This might have been one of the longest gaps of time we have ever had in between pay-per-views. From UFC 319, which was on August 16th, all the way till now, October. Well, we're nearing October, which is UFC 320, but what a card it is to have after waiting this long for a pay-per-view. What a card. This has officially, I think, taken the title for the best card this year so far. This card is absolutely stacked. Every single fight on this main card is amazing. It's just like such a complete card. And fingers crossed, everything stays intact, and it is headlined by the highly anticipated rematch. The only rematch to make right now, the only title fight really that was appropriate at UFC light heavyweight is the rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. These two fought back in March. Alex Pereira with the lackluster performance. Did he give his all in that fight? Was he traveling too much? Did he not take training camp or Magomed Ankalaev seriously enough? Magomed Ankalaev, how has his reign been as a champion so far? Pretty boring. Haven't heard much from him since he got the belt, as we suspected. But honestly, and we're going to get into the main fight at the end of this video, but let's just say this. This could potentially be the last time we ever see Alex Pereira fight. We just have to accept it. It might just be the last time we see Alex Pereira fight. But more on that at the end when we get into this main title fight. This is an exceptional card in Las Vegas this weekend. It is finally a UFC pay-per-view fight week again. It has been way too long. We have 2 title fights at the top of this card. And the rest of this main card is exceptional with, a household name in UFC, Jiri Prochazka, legendary light heavyweight fighter, finally coming back after his UFC 311 win. Khalil Rountree, a featherweight bout between Emmet and Zelal. Pyfer to open up the card is exciting, and Ateba Gautier as a featured prelim. As you know, we are running it up from the bottom and working our way up. Not sure if this is the complete card at the time of recording this video, but mostly everything that's on this card is here, so we're going to just stick to it and cover it. So in these early prelims, the only thing I'm going to be discussing, and not getting into these 2 women's fights, Patchy Mix is returning in his second UFC fight ever versus Jacob Wilklaz. As we know, Patchy Mix made his debut at 316, stepping in on short notice to take on Mario Batista, who's supposed to fight Chito Vera. Patchy Mix, horrible performance. One of the worst debuts I think we've ever seen in this history of the sport for a guy with so much hype coming in from Bellator, a champion, 20-1 wet record. People really said that this was going to be the guy that could have the formula to beat Mario Batista, but Patchy Mix went in there and just looked so flat, showed nothing, no flashiness, no moments. Mario Batista actually looked good on the feet in that fight. And Mario Batista was actually trying to bring the fight to the fans in that fight. But he still can't seem to get the crowd on his side because of how upset we were with his Jose Aldo performance when Mario Batista was smudging him against the cage, because he's, I guess, doing whatever he can to edge out the win no matter what, whether it's a pretty style or not. But in this fight versus Patchy Mix, he actually looked good on the feet. He actually danced on Patchy Mix, and that makes Patchy Mix look even worse. So Patchy Mix now finds himself on the early prelims of a pay-per-view. That's great. And he's taken on another newcomer like Jacob Wilklaz. I do not know much about this Jacob Wilklaz, but I guess we'll find out. And I think, honestly, I know I don't even know who this guy Jacob is, but I'll say right off the bat, I think Patchy Mix is going to lose again. I just think this Jacob Wilklaz is the type of fighter that's going to go in there and just spoil the party again for Patchy Mix. Like, Patchy Mix, what has he showed us in his UFC first fight? I mean, that was against a high-level guy like Mario Batista, who's taking on Umar Nurmagomedov next. But still, I don't think Patchy Mix, honestly, is as great as we all think. I mean, maybe he could bounce back like a pit bull, but I just think, honestly, that Jacob Wilklaz will have Patchy Mix's number in this fight. We're going to see Patchy Mix go on another downfall. I was so sure that Kaya Sakura was going to beat Tim Elliott in his second UFC fight. And what happened? Tim Elliott showed the levels, but I mean, Tim Elliott was a UFC vet. This guy, Jacob Wilklaz, is new. I don't know. It's a cool prelim. This is what stands out to me on the prelims. Patchy Mix coming back. So, yeah. And then Macy Chiasson versus Yana Santos, a ranked women's fight. to cap off the early prelims. Next, Chris Gutierrez versus Farid Basharat. All right, now I got to jog up my memory from these two guys. We've got Farid Basharat, 13-0. Who has he beaten so far? I've heard his name come up a couple times. Hugo Lapilas. Okay, bunch of nobodies, basically. Damon Blackshear hasn't lost, undefeated. We're just going to go with Chris Gutierrez, I think, honestly. No way. Literally, as I'm making this video, they just updated the page. What the heck? Okay, yo, we're going to have to rewind back a little bit. We're going to have to rewind back. That's crazy. Mid-video, it updates. Honestly, that's legendary. Now we can see the full card. Okay, they put on Nikolay Veretekenov on this card with Kazakhstan. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit thrown off. This just happened mid-video. Austin Vanderford is on the card versus Rob Meesber. Wow, these prelims just got even better. Okay, so I'm going to go with Nikolay Veretekenov. What was his last win? I don't know. Kazakhstan fighters are crazy. Wow, this card just got a whole phenomenal. Joosang Yu. Oh my gosh, this guy, he just had a crazy KO in his last win, 9-0. He's part of the Korean Zombies camp, or what do you want to ever call it? He trains under Korean Zombie. Korean Zombie is a couple of guys that are looking to fill in his shadow in the come up in the UFC. But Joosang Yu, oh my gosh, he's opening up the prelims. Oh, dude, this card is crazy. 9-0. I'm gonna go with Joosang Yu again. Why not? Super flashy KO, clean, one of the cleanest KOs you'll see this year versus Saragi. I mean, but that guy was just thrown to him as like a layup. They call him Zombie Jr. Yeah, that's crazy. I guess they took him off Perth and put him here. So Joosang Yu to open up the prelims versus Daniel Santos Zombie Jr. Okay, like I was saying, Farid Basharat, I'm going with Farid Basharat. Andre Muniz versus Edmen Shahbazyan. This is a good fight. But Edmen Shahbazyan has been on a little bit of a roll lately. And Andre Muniz is on a loss. I think he lost in Kansas City to Ikram Alaskarov, or did he pull out of that fight? We got to double check. Yeah, he fought Ikram Alaskarov and lost. This is more an up there fight that's being tossed up. Edmen Shahbazyan, Andre Muniz. Like, honestly, I think I'm going to still roll with Edmen Shahbazyan. I feel like Edmen Shahbazyan has found a second wind in his career right now, and he's just a little bit on a roll. Beat Petrowski. What else was his name? I forgot. But Edmen Shahbazyan, I'm going to rock with him, honestly. I mean, let's just look at his record real quick. The Golden Boy. At one point was a really, talked about Prochazka, right? Beat Budka. Lost to Mearshart. So he's on a little bit of a 2-fight winning streak. Honestly, this could swing either way. I don't know. Like, it could be Muniz, it could be Shahbazyan. This is a toss-up type of fight to me. Maybe other guys that have more advanced knowledge could tell you one way or another, but I'm going with Shahbazyan. And then over here, you just got to go with Ateba Gautier. Anybody picking, he must be one of the biggest favorites on this card. Anything other than Ateba Gautier so far, like, what is he, 22 or 21 years old, out of Cameroon, absolute monster, complete finisher, finished both his first two opponents in the UFC, is just this monster and a freak of a fighter right now that is on a crazy come up. You knew the UFC knows what they're doing, putting him here in the featured prelim spot versus a guy like Ozzy Diaz, throwing up another jobber, whatever you want to call him, for Ateba Gautier to style and finish this guy and bring up his star power and bring up his name. That's exactly what this fight is designed to do. Of course, in MMA, the unthinkable unpredictable could always happen, but a pushed and very heavily favored prospect like this is most of the time 9 out of 10 times going to win versus a guy like Ozzy Diaz. So you got to go with Ateba Gautier, absolute stud right now, the silent assassin, bro. And right now, the UFC's been throwing him really bad competition, like Medina and Valentina, just to stack up his record, build up his name. He's only 8-1, still so young. So yeah, does it even say his age here? It doesn't say his age, but yeah, Ateba Gautier. So wow, yo, mid-video, my thing updated with the full card, and it just got a whole lot better. Vanderford, Veretinkov, Bachi Mix, Joosang Yu, and Ateba Gautier. Wow. And that's just the prelims. Now you get into this main card. Here's what we really got to talk about. We're already 10 minutes deep. Joe Pyfer. Joe Body Bags Pyfer versus Abus Magomedov. I'm glad he's returning a little bit, since June, because, I feel like we need to see more activity from Joe Pyfer. He was supposed to fight in Mexico versus, what's his name? The fatty. That just got a win. I forgot what his name. They rebooked it for 316. Kevin Gastelum. So yeah, he knocked down Kevin Gastelum so many times in that fight, and you really thought he was going to put him away, but Kevin Gastelum has a great chin. Kevin Gastelum stayed in the fight. Joe Pyfer picked up the win, though. Joe Pyfer is the kind of fighter that's always going to go for the knockout. He's always going for that one-punch power, and I like what Lucas Tracy says about him. He's very one-dimensional, right? He has that one trick. He has that one tool in the toolbox he could use to his very best, but everything else he doesn't do so well, meaning he's like a one-trick pony in a way. The only thing he really has to offer is his power and his punches. Looking for that one shot, that one huge uppercut. When it comes to being tactical, strategic, he's none of that. He doesn't have the technical striking. He doesn't have any kind of real game plan. It's just to go in there and knock him out. But that's the kind of guy you also like, the guy who's going to give you these highlight one-shot KOs. And Joe Pyfer possesses that kind of power. And I feel like in this middleweight division, he could do that to anyone for sure, especially in Abus Magomedov. He couldn't put away Kevin Gastelum, but this time around, UFC is putting him on this card as an opener to hopefully warm us up with something like that, putting away Abus Magomedov, who has been up and down here and there. People think because he's got the Medov in his name but he had a horrible fight in his last fight versus Michel Pereira. They both absolutely gassed out, and there was no finishing power from either of those men. It was a horrible fight. So Joe Pyfer, this could be a good setup for Joe Pyfer to once again do something big on a big card like this. Joe Pyfer's got a pretty blunt personality. He'll say it as it is if you watch any of his interviews. So I'm going with Joe Body Bags Pyfer. Not sure if it goes to the decision. Depends. I think he could put Magomedov to sleep. Because if Magomedov gasses quickly, then Pyfer could really just find an opening and boom, put this guy away. Pyfer definitely could do it. That's the kind of feeling I get. I'm honestly feeling something crazy right now for this card. It's UFC 320. It's in Las Vegas. I'm feeling like Pyfer's going to open up this card with a bang. And then we're going to go right into Josh Emmet versus Youssef Zelal, talking about another fighter with huge punching power and that one-punch knockout ability. One of the best-known guys for that is Josh Emmet. And honestly, like I just said, I'm feeling something crazy for this card. I'm feeling like Pyfer and Emmet could go back-to-back KOs. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to go with Josh Emmet to put away Youssef Zelal by a finish. KO. Highlight KO on this card. Bryce Mitchell type moment, because sure, Josh Emmet wasn't able to put away Little Murphy. Little Murphy's been looking like a very elite featherweight. Probably will get the title shot next. And Youssef Zelal, I think at what point was cut from the UFC, is now riding a 7-8 fight win streak. His best competition. People are calling him the featherweight version of Bilal. His last fight was Calvin Kattar. Most of his fight, he's been finishing everyone really, but again, his opposition has not been the strongest, but he's been winning fights. He's been on a 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. Yeah, he's been on a little win streak, right? He famously lost to Ilia Topuria when Ilia Topuria was on his way up. I don't know, how legit, we have to, or how seriously we could take Youssef Zelal. This would be a step in the right direction if he could get past a guy like Josh Emmet and get his ranking up. But there's such different styles. Youssef Zelal is more savvy on the ground. He has more of a submission game. Josh Emmet is going to be looking also for the kill shot. He's going to be looking for that one-punch KO. And honestly, I'm going crazy, and I'm thinking that Josh Emmet will find it. I think he's going to catch Youssef Zelal and put him to sleep. So Josh Emmet and Pyfer, bro, I could definitely see them both going back to back like a Murphy Prates spinning elbow KO type moments. Either both these fights could be super boring and go to decisions, or they could both end in like some violent finishes. I mean, to have these two back to back is fireworks, bro. Pyfer and Josh Emmet, they're virtually like the same type of fighters, just in different weight classes. They both just go for crazy power, punches, big broad fighters. Like, so yeah, you got Pyfer and Emmet. The featured fight, Khalil Rountree versus Jiri Prochazka. Oh my gosh, Jiri Prochazka, one of the absolute favorite fighters, universally loved by everyone. Like, how could you not love a fighter like Jiri Prochazka? Just a complete, just different type of fighter. He meditates. He does these crazy rituals in the forests of wherever the heck he's from. Where is he from again? Chechnya. Jiri Prochazka is one of the most unique characters in the UFC and an absolute beast. Absolute beast. Jiri Prochazka came into the UFC, went on a quick rise. Just an absolute monster. He had really the only fighter he has lost to in his UFC career is Alex Pereira. And every other fighter he's done serious damage to. Finished Volkan Ozdemir in his debut. Had the crazy spinning elbow KO over Dominic Reyes. Beat Glover Teixeira by submission in the 5th round for the belt. So Jiri Prochazka was a light heavyweight champion. Had to vacate because of injury. So technically never lost the title from another fighter. It was due to injury. Fought Alex Pereira in Alex Pereira's second light heavyweight bout in Madison Square Garden. Pereira got the belt. Prochazka bounced back versus Rakic in UFC 300, also with a finish. Then, of course, famously got KO'd by a head kick by Pereira, and then came back and finished Jamal Hill. Prochazka is just pure chaos in the octagon. He's one of the most fun light heavyweights on the planet to watch. And Khalil Rountree is great too. Khalil Rountree, as we know, also crazy knockout power, the Muay Thai style. Had a 5-round masterclass, very strong showing versus a Jamal Hill. And Jamal Hill has not been aging well as a fighter. I mean, both these guys and Pereira beat Jamal Hill. So Khalil Rountree, and this is going to be a sick fight regardless. It's such a fun stylistic matchup. Both these guys are going to keep it on the feet. And Prochazka, as we know, he keeps his hands down. He's a little bit reckless. He leaves so many openings, but he also, as much damage as he takes in fights, because he does get hit a lot, he just still is there. He's still standing, and he's been in those close grill fight situations, those close quarter fights, and he just always turns it up as the fight continues, and he gets in there. Like, he'll get hit a lot. He'll get tagged up, but then he's chaotic. He just does some crazy things with knees, elbows. He'll throw you to the ground and then finish you on the ground with some ground and pound. Like, Jiri Prochazka has been that dude. And I just think, 31-5, crazy, scary light heavyweight. Only lost to Pereira. I think Prochazka gets the win here and reestablishes himself as the number one contender for that title shot next. And how would he do in a fight with Magomed Ankalaev? I don't think, if Magomed Ankalaev and Prochazka were to fight, I mean, Prochazka maybe would be giving a better test to Magomed Ankalaev, but for the amount of times, like I said, that Magomed Ankalaev, that Prochazka gets hit, I think Magomed Ankalaev will let him pay a lot more. Listen, this is still, like I said, a crazy featured fight. Khalil Rountree, a lot of respect to him. He'll put on a good fight for sure. He showed a lot of heart with his Pereira fight. He's a great light heavyweight, but in this matchup, I got to go with Jiri Prochazka. So, crazy featured fight in the mix with Prochazka and Khalil Rountree. Wow. Oh my. And this is just the third fight down. This card was already crazy when they announced these top 3 fights. And you have all of this as well. Co-main event, the Bantamweight Championship. Cory Sandhagen is finally getting his shot versus who right now is going on a run to become literally the Bantamweight GOAT. He might just do it with another win like this. Merab Dvalishvili. Merab, as we know, has been one of the most unsolvable fighters in the UFC. recent memory, just insane win streak, insane resume already. Beating the likes of Henry Cejudo, Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley twice, Umar Nurmagomedov, who everyone said was the boogeyman to beat Merab. Once Merab beat Umar, you just knew he was a different breed of a fighter. Like, it was one thing when he beat Sean O'Malley after beating Henry Cejudo, and it was like, Merab, boring style, couldn't finish Sean. He just keeps on leveling up, though. He just keeps on achieving more and more. And he really just, like, the way that he beat Umar was so entertaining, honestly, even though a lot of people, like, don't like that kind of style of just wrestling, grappling, but the way Merab does is just so fun. And when you see greatness like this, you just got to appreciate, like, the fighting style. He could go, he's already, you look at Merab Dvalishvili, he's one of the greatest fighters in UFC history and could potentially be the bantamweight GOAT. And he wants to already make a quick turnaround after this. This would be his third title defense this year. And then he wants to go quickly and defend versus Peter Yan in December, which honestly he could do because Merab takes no damage. Also, he one-upped his win in the second fight with Sean O'Malley. In the rematch, in the first fight, they went to decision. In the second fight, Sean O'Malley, he submitted the guy. He submitted Sean O'Malley, was the first guy to do it. I mean, Merab Dvalishvili started putting submissions in his game plan. So, Merab is just absolutely insane with the cardio, the way he just moves and jumps around. Now, still, you would like to think that Cory Sandhagen could be the wild card fighter of this division. That could be kind of the curveball to Merab Dvalishvili's insane cardio, grappler pressure fighting style. Cory Sandhagen likes to experiment a lot more. He likes to use leg locks and all different types of more tactical approaches. He does that different kind of training, and he's had some crazy knee KOs in his career, some crazy just crafty striking. And listen, the dream matchup to me is Sandhagen versus Sean O'Malley. If Cory Sandhagen did get the belt, let's just say by some crazy chance, it would be one of the biggest upsets if he manages to walk away with the belt after this Saturday night. Also, I saw that Sean O'Malley would love to fight him in the White House. That'd be sick. Imagine Sean O'Malley and Cory Sandhagen in the main card of the White House card under McGregor Chandler. That would be phenomenal. That's a timeline that could definitely very well happen. But yeah, sorry, I'm kind of getting off track here. Cory Sandhagen, he's finally getting his title shot. He's won enough fights. He's been waiting long enough in the queue. There's nobody else to fight Merab right now. Arguably Peter Yan, but Peter Yan could wait. At the rate that Merab is fighting, he could fight Cory and still fight Peter Yan later this year. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. So Cory Sandhagen popped the leg of Davison Figueiredo, and we'll see. We'll see just how he does. Like, it's going to be so unique to see how Cory Sandhagen could try to deal with the puzzling ground style of Merab Dvalishvili. Like, Cory Sandhagen is dealing with a whole different breed of a fighter here. He's never faced anyone like Merab. Merab has tackled all the guys way higher level than anyone Cory Sandhagen's beaten, because Cory Sandhagen has lost to Umar. And I think that Umar Magomedov is the only fighter in this bantamweight division that could possibly maybe beat Merab in a rematch. So if Umar gets past Mario Batista, I say give him that rematch after Merab fights Peter Yan, of course. I don't think it's impossible for Sandhagen to pull off this win. It would be a massive upset. But again, anything other than picking Merab Dvalishvili would just feel super just like, I can't be that one guy that makes the crazy call that Sandhagen's going to be Merab. I just got to go with Merab here. Merab to defend again. Third title defense this year. Continue just stacking his resume as one of the GOATs. And then probably defend versus Peter Yan in a rematch. That would be a sick fight. So yeah, bantamweight championship. Cory Sandhagen finally getting the title shot. At least he'll get this title shot regardless. But yeah, phenomenal co-main event to this main fight. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Listen, when I first reacted to this fight, I was saying that Magomed Ankalaev could beat Alex Pereira more decisively than the first fight. Really, like. And while I still think that's very true, my stance has completely switched, where I'm not completely closed off to the possibility of Alex Pereira winning. Because, like, listen, Alex Pereira has been approaching this fight in a whole different way. He has been so much more serious about training. He has not traveled anywhere. He has spent a lot longer amount of time being focused and locked in on this training camp. And I think Alex Pereira knows that this is his last chance. This is really it for him to have any chance at gold in his UFC career, unless he did make the transition to heavyweight. But this really is it for Alex Pereira. You're getting your immediate title shot because you were the most electrifying and biggest name in the sport in 2024. And yeah, like Alex Pereira went on that crazy run that he had, becoming one of the biggest legends. At one point was considered the face of the UFC. It was honestly one of the guys that really brought UFC to a whole new level. Like, one of the crazy cards that I watched was when he knocked out Jamal Hill at the end of UFC 300. My favorite card, one of the best cards of all time. To be the head of that card and make that finish and then go on to beating Prochazka. Everything he did just on short notice and in such a quick amount of time. Being the activity king. So yeah, this is it for Alex Pereira. He's getting his meat talent shot. If you don't beat Magomed and Ankalaev, yeah, good luck. What more is there for you to do? He's already 37. This could really be the last time we ever see Alex Pereira fight. And honestly, I officially want to say that I'm going with Alex Pereira in this fight. I think that Alex Pereira is coming in there and he is going to defy what everyone thinks, what I thought originally, that Magomed Ankalaev would beat him more decisively and actually win this fight. KO or win by decision versus Magomed Ankalaev and get back his light heavyweight belt. Make a comeback story like Volk. And then, yeah, whatever you want to do next, you're going to do next as the light heavyweight champion. Maybe he'll have a third fight with Prochazka. Or he fights the winner of Goldberg versus Reyes. Or he just goes for a super fight versus Tom Aspinall. Who knows? But I am reversing my original pick. And I'm rocking with Alex Pereira. Not saying I would ever bet on it. Definitely not that confident. But I think Alex Pereira could have the incredible comeback story this weekend to get back the light heavyweight belt, because we really need it. We need Alex Pereira to get the belt off this man, just like Jack Della Maddalena did with Belal. I need Alex Pereira to get the belt off the super boring, super not fun, super everything bad champion of Magomed Ankalaev. And Pereira been talking that talk. I saw this clip. He's been calling out Ankalaev for being a shitty champion, not being a good champion, avoiding him at the PI. Haven't heard anything about Magomed Ankalaev in this entire run and build up to this fight, honestly. And people were saying too that Pereira, following the loss, he kind of fell off, which he kind of did. It's crazy how quickly a guy that had so much of a face and a name in the UFC quickly became a little bit of an older topic in conversations. Following just one loss. So Pereira, only two men have beaten you in the UFC. That was Israel Adesanya and Magomed Ankalaev. Everything Alex Pereira has already done has been cemented him as an absolute legend and one of the best fighters we've ever seen. Top 15 probably. Maybe more. But yeah, for the good of the sport, we need Alex Pereira to get back this belt this weekend. And honestly, it will make for a bigger story. Because sure, while we wanted him to beat Magomed Ankalaev the first time, how much greater would it be to have him face the adversity of losing it, but then getting it back, beating the guy in a rematch, doing what Adesanya did to him, right? Adesanya lost to Pereira, then Adesanya came back and knocked out Pereira. Same thing here, Pereira to knock out Magomed Ankalaev. He's just so much more dialed in. He's been training a lot harder. He's a lot more focused for this fight. Tremendous amounts of more focus, like if you see from his social media how long he's been locked in the training camp in the gym. So it's a different type of energy with this fight. I'm expecting Pereira to be a lot more locked in, to be more crisp, better, just more present with this fight, unlike the last one. And I'm feeling it. Pereira to KO Magomed Ankalaev to cap off this amazing night of fights. That is it. This is UFC 320 this weekend. We finally are back with a pay-per-view. It is finally a pay-per-view week once again. Absolutely insane card. Best card this year. Unless they end the year off with a crazy card. Still think this is better than MSG. It's better than UFC 319 for sure. Just a whole bunch of crazy fights. And this could turn out to be one of the best cards. So, yeah, thank you for sticking with me and checking out my videos. I appreciate it. Leave comments. I want to hear more about like what other people think and what other people want to say. So just let me know. And yeah, until next time.